says that it's preparing to live stream, but let's see. Oh, there we go.
Oh, we are live.
Yeah, I see it. I see it over here.
Hey, welcome to Data Science Club. This
Number
is
42.
Number 42 today.
42.
All
I
right,
don't know which version of my hands is the right because it always mirrors the screen.
Well, they should get it from 42, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, so today we are going to be talking about Tidyverse. So we have had some dedicated videos to pandas. That's the basic data frame library for Python. And Tidyverse is equivalent of pandas, but on R. And since we had already done pandas, we thought it would be a good exercise to show how you can do data manipulation and data exploration using Tidyverse and R as well. And so today we are just going to go through some basics. I think the first portion of the exercise is just going to focus on the dplyr portion of Tidyverse. Apparently there are readr and other sections in Tidyverse as well. We might come back to them in future videos. All right, so for today, the tutorial that we are going to be focusing on is r4ds.go. We should post this link in our description.
Yeah, I just posted it in the comments of the live stream.
All right, and so we have used this tutorial before as well when we were doing data visualization in R as well. So people who would have gone through that video would be familiar with this tutorial. We are doing another section of this. It's sort of a book, but so we are doing one section of it called data transformation today. That's going to be using Tidyverse library.
Yeah.
And so like always, we are going to be using the RStudio server available on Chiha to be doing our analysis for doing our tutorial. And for which you need to go to Actually, let me just go from the start. So you go to rc.uab.edu. And if you have an account on Chiha, you will come to this dashboard page. If you don't have an account, you're going to go to a page where it's going to tell you that you don't have an account and ask you to submit an email to our team so that we can create an account for you. And once we create the account and you log back in, you should come to this dashboard page. Once you have an account and you get to this dashboard page, go to interactive apps and select RStudio server. And this is where you can choose which R version you want. You'll have a form like this in your window. You choose the version of R that you want, number of R's that you want it for. 2 should be enough for this tutorial for right now. And express, the partition would be corresponding to the number of hours you have requested for your session. So if you choose your time to be less than or equal to 2 hours, you can choose your partition to be express. If it is like 12, it's short. If it's medium,
50 is medium.
Yeah.
But in general, you want to pick a shorter partition if you can, because you get higher priority in the scheduler.
Yeah. So you don't have a big waiting time, which you might get if you choose long and you are only using number of hours equal to 2, because that would be technically possible, but you might have to wait a long time because of the partitions or because of the nodes that it needs to go on. Then you can choose your number of CPUs and memory per CPU. I'm going to keep it as 4. And then once you hit the launch button, it should start up your RStudio server. I already have a session up. I think
you click those 2 little things.
Yeah, and it seems like it has 59 minutes left, so I think that should be more than enough for our session.
Yes. Yeah. If this goes longer than an hour, we'll do a second video next week.
Yes. And so once your job is submitted and it has started, you should see this connect to RStudio server button. Once you click on it, you should come to your RStudio session. All right, so the first things first. So prerequisites for this tutorial are these two libraries, Tidyverse and New York City Flights 13. I already have Tidyverse in my library. The way of checking your library paths is this. So this is where I keep all my libraries. Uh, and I've already installed Tidyverse. So if I go through install.packages, this is how you install packages. So if you haven't worked on R before, or if you don't have Tidyverse in your library set, this is how you're going to install it. I think for me, it's just going to say that it has satisfied.
Oh, it's going to try to update.
Yeah, and so since this is already there, I don't really need to update. I'm okay with the
Yeah, so you just
package that
cancel that.
yeah. And similarly, the other library that it's talking about, the New York City Flights 13, it's actually a database that we are going to be working on in this tutorial. And this is something that I've installed as well. It was basically here. So I ran through install.packages, New York City Flights 13. I did it beforehand, before this tutorial, because I did not know how long it would take. So I thought it might be better if I install it beforehand.
Yeah.
Uh, Apparently, it's not a big install, so you should be able to do it in 5 or 10 seconds. I might as well have waited for this.
Yeah. You never know with R though.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So once you have installed them, method of getting them is, so you have right now, once with install.packages command, you have just installed those libraries. They are still not available for you to use uh, in this environment. I think we might uh, which was the new file that we were using, our
The
notebook.
R notebook, yeah.
Yeah, we might as well use this.
Yeah. And then you just make a new cell.
Yeah, I'm just going to start from here. All right, so we already have.
Yeah, insert R. There you go.
All right, so what we are going to do is we are going to just copy paste this the library, and what these commands are going to do is they are going to just add these two libraries for your environment so that you can use it later on. And you wouldn't see anything because it's just loading these libraries, and thankfully we didn't get any errors.
Yes.
All right, so one method of checking if you have loaded the library New York City Flights 13 is just running flights, and that's just going to give you a sort of a head version of the database uh, or data frame that it has captured. And if you'll see in the global environments,
Oh, it says the environment is empty because you're calling flights from that
oh yeah,
library. So you
that's
actually
true.
haven't imported it as a variable into your space yet.
Yeah, all right,
That's
never
really
mind.
confusing, but makes sense.
Yeah, so these are the different columns that we have. We have the year. So this library captures all the flights that start from New York City in year 2013. So year is going to be 2013 for each of these rows. Uh, then month, one means January, two means February, and so on and so forth. I don't know what day is first, so it would be based on which day of the month this flight departs. And then you have departure time, scheduled departure time, departure delay, and so on and so forth. There are a lot of features in this data frame. One interesting thing is it also shows us the type or data type of each column or feature. So year is integer, month is integer, departure time is integer. I don't know if anything. Oh yeah. So you have carrier as characters. This is double, And yeah, so it gives you different types of data types available in this data set. And to learn more about these data types, if you're not familiar with it, you can go through this section over here.
Oh yeah, that's a nice summary of what all of those data types are.
Yeah. All right. So we are going to go through dplyr basics.
Oh, okay. So this is just kind of summarizing what you would do for these. So it looks like in the Tidyverse package, the functionality that we would get in something like Pandas is kind of broken out into sub packages.
Yeah, I think
So it looks like the dplyr is all about the data manipulation.
Yeah, and read might be about just how to read in new files. That's just a guess.
Yeah, we'll see when we get there.
Yeah, based on the name, it suggests that it might be just for like we use that read CSV and read Excel or something. It might be.
Okay, so filter. Okay, so filter would let us subset things. Okay, so it's gonna, after that was just the summary. Now we're gonna actually look at things. Got it.
All right, so the first one that we are going to go through is filter, and as the name suggests, it is just going to filter out your entire data set based on the conditions that you provide in that filter. So what we are doing is, let's just copy paste this. All right, so what it is doing is it's showing you the entire data set, but the filter comes in that the month needs to be 1st or January, and day needs to be 1. So that means every flight that started out on 1st January, it's just going to show that.
I like that. That's kind of like the subset command in R, but it's a lot easier to read.
Yeah, it's cleaner. And so these are just going to be the 1st January flights, and all the other flights have been filtered out of this list. And it's not assigning this value in anything. So you have run this and it's gone. It's not actually modifying your data set. If you want a new data set based on these filter parameters, then you can just assign them to a data set. And the method you do that is, so you'll see there are 842 rows, right? And so once we assign it to a dataset variable,
Hey, now it's in our environment.
yeah. So now you can see there are 842 observations of 19 variables. This is the same thing that you saw over here, 842 rows and 19 columns. But the thing was that it's not modifying your data set. So technically you lose that after you have run the filter.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and now you have saved it. So if you wanted to do something just with the data set of when the January 1st flights that left New York City, you can use this new data set that you have created.
That makes sense.
And I'm not going to run this, but it's very similar. It's just, so it's the filter parameters that you have changed over here. So rather than 1st January, you are saying month equal to 12, that's December, and day equal to 25. So every flight that departed on 25th December or Christmas.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A lot of flights departed on Christmas too, 713. All right. So the next thing that we are going to go to is comparisons. So
Okay, so this is talking over Boolean operators or logical operators that you
yeah,
can use for doing the filtering.
yeah. So let's see. So we had 336,776 rows and minus 842 because that's what we are going to try. Am I copying this? Yeah. All right. So if we define just the uh, comparison filter to be just month equal to 1, that means everything in January it's going to pick out in its filter.
Well, so run this. This line will actually give us an error.
Oh, because of equal to equal to.
Yeah, so if you haven't used logical operators before, what happens in programming is that you need a way to separate the tasks of saying my variable equals something in terms of I want to assign the value on the right side to the variable on the left side. And then you need some way of saying these two things are equivalent. And
Mhm.
so in logical operators, I think that's why they have this line, is just to demonstrate if you're filtering and you only put one equal sign, then that's saying that you want to put the value of 1 into the variable month. And so, but if you're trying to say you want to see this data set filtered by things where the month is equivalent to 1, then you need two equal signs.
Yeah. So this should run. And that would be 27,000
Yeah,
rows.
yeah.
So 27,000 out of 336. So technically, if I change this to month is greater than 1, this was 27,000, 336,000. So it should be 309,000 something left.
Yeah.
And so if we do that,
Boom.
yeah, 309,000 rows left because now we are excluding January. Earlier we were just including just January. Now we are just excluding January and capturing everything else over here. So this is how you can use comparison operators to filter your database or data set.
That
All
makes
right.
sense. So go back up just a little bit. So did you notice that near function?
Um,
So
oh,
so this is kind of an interesting point because I don't know, I feel like Python and MATLAB do rounding. I don't know. I haven't tried this in Python or MATLAB to see if this breaks
mm-hmm.
the way that they're talking about here. But basically, if you're talking about digital numbers, it is true there's no way that you can actually capture all of the digits of an irrational number because you're not going to store an infinite number of digits past a certain point. And so if you take the square root of 2, which is going to be 1 point something 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 forever,
Mm-hmm.
and then square that, it's actually not going to be equivalent to 2. And so I guess R has this command near that just says, if I'm really, really close to the same value, still say that that's true.
Yeah,
So that's interesting.
it is. Yeah, most of these numbers might not end at one any point.
Yeah.
Let's try this. Uh, do we have, is there a pi value in R?
In R, there is. I'm trying to remember what it is though.
Oh, this constants. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is pi.
Yeah.
And
3.14. Oh, false. Apparently we don't have enough digits there.
Yeah, I forget what's the actual value.
Here, let's
Not pi.
I gotcha. 3.14159. Let's try that. 159,265,358.
Oh,
There we go.
True.
All right.
So it has to be really precise in this one at least.
Yeah.
All right, so now you can see. So this is not the end of a pi value.
No, even just on my screen, I have another 50 digits.
Yeah, so pi is like a continuously going thing. And but it is very equivalent to the pi value that they have, the constant that R has inbuilt. So this looks very close to R, and it's like it's near to this. So okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, next one. So the next thing that we are going to do is logical operators. So that means and, or, not. So and logical operator, I'm pretty sure a lot of you would already be familiar with this. And is basically both sides of the and condition needs to be true for it to actually do that. Or means any of these them can be true, not means that has to be false. That condition needs to be false.
Yeah, so like if we were filtering, it's actually it's a little bit different if you were if you're just talking to somebody, you might not think about it this way, but if you say that I want to look for data where the month equals November and December, as humans, we would say, okay, well, you're being a little bit imprecise, but I understand that you mean you want to look in both November and December. But the programming language doesn't care. It'll say, well, I can't look for something that's November and December. November and December are two different things, so those aren't going to overlap. So you have to use this or operator to say, I want to look in November or December, and then it will actually include both.
Yeah, let's try with and first. It's going to fail.
Yeah, 0.
Yeah, because none of the rows satisfied both these conditions, which they cannot. Either it can be November or December.
Yeah.
And so for this, in this case, or is the correct operator that you have to use. And now you'll see there are 55,000 rows. That means 55,000 flights that either started in November or started in December. So there is another shorthand notation as well, percentage in percentage. This is basically saying if month has any of these values, then filter. So it's just going to do the same thing that we did over here.
Okay.
Just a shorthand notation for it.
Yeah.
So the only reason that I'm running this is because it is creating a new variable, and I'm not sure if it is going to use this variable later on in the tutorial. And there should be a November, December over here.
Yeah, I see it.
All right, so we have this. All right, so what is this sentence saying? So this sentence is saying we want to filter that flight's data set.
Yeah.
If the array delay So if array
Where,
arrival delay, arrival
what
delay is less than 120 or departure delay is less than 120, those are the flights that we want. So it says that it is greater than, or that means all the flights, and we want, and it has this not operator. That means just the opposite of that.
yeah, so basically it's gonna, because we're saying we don't want any flights where the arrival delay is greater than 2 hours and the departure delay, or the departure delay is greater than 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's the same thing as saying we want to look for flights where the arrival delay is less than or equal to 2 hours and the departure delay is less than or equal to 2 hours. When you negate an or, it turns into an and.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is what it wants. So both of these are very similar. So what we are going to do is we are going to, come on. All right. Let me insert. All right. So the first thing that we can check is when we don't have the not operator, what it's how many rows it would have. It's just going to be 336,000 minus this once we add the not operator. So 11,422 out of 33,000 something. And once we add this, not 316,000. Well, there are two conditions, so it might not be exactly subtracted.
Mm-hmm.
All right, missing values.
That's interesting. So yeah, I mean, if you try to do almost any operations with a missing value, it's going to return
Just the
yet another missing value.
Yeah, so this is like 0 doesn't have that property. Maybe infinity.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, basically this means that you cannot have any operations with that missing value character.
Yeah.
And
if we don't have a value, that's kind of an interesting result. I hadn't thought about that before. But if you try to say, is a missing value equivalent to another missing value, you're just going to get, well, I don't know, because I don't know what the values are.
yeah, you're going to get the shrug emoji. I don't
know. Yeah, the shrug emoji. That should be legitimate output from most programming languages.
That was really nice.
I don't know. But yeah, so you, instead of using equals equals to see if something is not a number, then you have to use this is.na function.
Yeah, just to check if it is it has a value or not. I'm not sure what this is going to be. Only includes rows where the condition is true. Oh, it excludes both false and not applicable values.
Yeah.
So this is not going to have any effect. It's just going to look for 1 and 3. Interesting.
Well, all right, so now we've got exercises, and probably after these exercises, we're going to have to break this into multiple videos. I think we've already been going for 30 minutes now.
Oh, all right. Yeah, so we can...
Because we did a bunch of videos for pandas, so it'll be fine to do a bunch of videos for Tidyverse too.
Yeah, maybe we can go through a couple of these exercises and then we can leave the rest of them for people to try out for themselves.
Yeah, let's do it.
All
All
right.
right, so the first one is find all flights that had an arrival delay of 2 or more hours. So we can use filter.
We need flights.
Yeah.
And we need, so we already know that there is a feature called arrival delay.
Yeah.
So that's not something that we have to worry about calculating or anything or being very smart about finding out because that feature is already present.
Yes.
All right, so had an arrival delay of 2 or more hours. So this means that we need some conditional operator because it can be 2 or it can be anything above 2. There is one method. So if I don't know if it's an integer value or not, that field. One method is, or one very long, very stupid method is that what I can do is I can just try to filter out the values if the value of arrival delay is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and keep going. And find at least, I mean, I can do a smart thing of finding out what's the maximum value in arrival delay. So I just go till there rather than just keep going to infinity. Or we use a normal comparison operator, be like, okay, it needs to be greater than or equal to 2. So
yeah, but in this case, arrival delay is in minutes.
Yeah, so that means 120.
Yeah. Yep, there we go.
Yeah, and that should give you all the flights that have had more than 2 hour delay, or at least 2 hour delay.
Yep.
All right, so we need to find all flights that flew to Houston. Oh, Houston has 2 airports.
Apparently.
Interesting. All right, insert R. So again, filter because that's what we are doing. We might as well have moved them to some other variables, but that's okay. So we again want flights. That's the data frame or data set that we are using. So we need an OR operator over here because it can either be IH or HOU.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see.
And we need to know what the departing airport is called. So origin. Oh no, destination.
Yeah, destination. DST. So destination equal to IH or destination equal to HOU. We might have to have them in brackets, I guess.
We might. Can you run it and just see if it gives an error? Okay.
Let's see. I mean, we might not get everything over here, but we can at least see. So IH.
Yeah.
We should not have anything else. IH, HOU, IH, HOU.
Yeah.
That looks
like it worked.
Yeah. So we didn't need any. Yeah. So we can find out all the flights that flew from New York City to Houston in 2013.
And let's see. It looks like the rest of
yeah, remember these are given in integer values, so 7, 8, 9, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
7, 8, 9. And then let's see, on number 5, let's see, arrived late. So it'd be the arrival delay is more than 2 hours, but the departure delay is 0, I guess.
And yeah, so this would be an AND condition because
Yeah.
we want both conditions to be true. This
Yeah.
is something that we can try, and maybe call it the session over here. All right, let's see. Filter flights, and we want, what was the value? Oh,
Yeah.
I think
Underscore.
arrival delay, right?
Yep.
Arrival
Arrival delay.
is greater or equal to 120,
Yep.
and
Well, it says more. It just says more than 2 hours. So if we're being
oh yeah,
really sticklers, it's just greater than.
and we want departure delay equal to
0.
oh yeah. So it didn't leave late at all.
Yep. We'll see
All
if
right.
there's anything. Okay.
3 rows. So we can see all the departure delays are 0,
Yep.
and where is arrival delay? 130, 128, 140.
No.
I wonder why they were
They're
late.
all coming from the same airport too. That's interesting.
Oh really? Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't notice it. Oh, so technically most of them might be coming from the same, because they all are flights that are departing from New York City. So this is LaGuardia.
Ah, okay. That makes sense.
There are, so New York City has 1 or 2 airports?
I think it's got 3.
3? Okay. All right. So there is a good chance that it might be similar
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah. Yeah. And then let's see. It looks like number 6 would be similar. But it's gonna be departure delay greater than or equal to 60.
Oh, this one would be
But
interesting.
arrival delay is less than 30.
Yeah.
Right.
So we want to find out, but made up over 30 minutes in the flight.
Yeah, so that would mean we would expect that the arrival delay would be equivalent to the departure delay if.
So it could be that we can have the departure delay minus 30 as well.
Well, the departure delay is going to be greater than or equal to 60.
Yeah, it would be greater than or equal to 60. And then arrival delay would be departure delay minus 30, because it made up 30 minutes.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because
yeah, that means that it's a flight, it either flew faster or
yeah, because if it's hard set at 30 minutes, that's not right.
Yeah, and so yeah, I mean there are some really good exercises. I like this one because it just says made up over 30 minutes. And even the last one, I'm still not sure why, if the flight was in air, why it got delayed. But anyways, yeah, so please go through all the rest of the exercises. Let us know if you have any issues, and we will continue the same exercise, same tutorial next week as well.
Yep. Yeah, we'll keep on working on this Tidyverse stuff so that we can get some nice videos on this as well, because this is kind of the equivalent thing to what we would normally use in pandas and Python. So it's, if you're going to be using R, it's pretty essential to your workflows.
Yeah, definitely. All right, until next time.
Yeah, sounds good. I know, bud. I know.